Commander Zix-41 stared at the tactical display with 4 eyes wide in confusion. The human fleet had done something impossible again. The Galactic Council had been fighting wars for 10,000 years using proven methods, honor combat formations, and logical strike patterns. Yet these strange bipeds from the third planet of a yellow star kept breaking every rule. The latest battle report made no sense. Captain Amy Rodriguez had led her small destroyer straight through the middle of a Krillian battle formation. Not around it, not over it, but directly through the center while spinning like a child's toy. The Krillian admiral had been so shocked that his entire fleet froze for precious seconds, allowing the human reinforcements to strike. Their flanks, Zix turned to his tactical officer Nith 7, a brilliant strategist from the logical Vorthon species. What do the databases say about this maneuver? Nith's tentacles twitched nervously. There are no records, sir. No species has ever attempted such a foolish action. The humans should have been destroyed instantly, but they were not destroyed. Zix replied slowly. They won. Across the galaxy. Similar conversations were happening on a dozen different command ships. The humans had been in space for barely 50 Earth years, yet they had already defeated 3 major powers and formed alliances with 6 minor ones. Their methods defied all military science. Admiral Karak of the proud Zenthari Empire reviewed footage of the Battle of Centauri. Station A, human named Lisa Thompson, had commanded the defense. The station was surrounded and outgunned 10-1. Any rational commander would have surrendered or attempted to negotiate. Instead, Thompson had done something unprecedented. She had turned off all the station's defensive shields and weapons. Then she broadcast a message on all frequencies. Attention attacking fleet. This is Commander Thompson. We surrender and invite you to dock for formal transfer of command. Please send your boarding parties to airlocks 7 through 12. We have prepared a welcoming ceremony. The Zenthari had been suspicious, but their honor code demanded they accept a proper surrender. They sent their elite boarding parties to the designated airlocks. What they found there still gave Admiral Karak nightmares. The humans had filled those sections with their most unstable experimental weapons. A dozen fusion mines rigged to explode on contact. The Zenthari elite guard was wiped out in seconds. Meanwhile, Thompson and her crew escaped through the mining tunnels they had secretly dug beneath the station. The humans called it the Trojan horse strategy. Karak called it madness. On the bridge of the exploration vessel, deep-thought Captain Betty Martinez was planning their next impossible victory. The enemy had them trapped in an asteroid field with nowhere to run. Standard procedure would be to find the best defensive position and fight to the last soldier. Martinez had other plans. Navigation plot, a course directly toward their flagship. Maximum speed, sir, questioned her first officer, Jake Peterson. That will take us straight through their firing solution. They will destroy us before we get close. Martinez smiled the strange expression. Humans, made when they were about to do something completely insane. Not if we are already destroyed, set all systems to emergency overload. I want every energy signature screaming that we are about to explode. Peterson stared at her. You want them to think. We are having a reactor meltdown. Exactly. Make it look good. Add some spinning and random course changes. Really sell the performance. The enemy fleet watched in confusion as the human ship began tumbling wildly through space. Energy readings spiked and dropped erratically. Every scanner indicated imminent reactor failure. The alien commander ordered his ships to pull back. Nobody wanted to be caught in a human reactor explosion. The stories of their fusion drives turning entire moons into glass were well known as the enemy fleet repositioned to avoid the seemingly doomed human vessel Martinez struck. The apparent system failures had been carefully staged. The moment the enemy ships broke formation, her hidden weapons came online. 6 enemy cruisers were disabled before they realized the malfunction had been an elaborate trick. The Galactic Military Academy added another case study to their growing file of impossible human victories. Professor Quinn 88, a renowned expert in military history, found himself rewriting textbooks weekly. These humans do not fight wars, the ancient Corvan scholar explained to his students. They fight puzzles. Every battle is a new riddle to solve rather than a test of strength and honor. A student raised, a crystalline appendage. How do they win when they are always outnumbered and outgunned? Professor Quinn's 3 hearts beat faster with excitement. That is the mystery. They should not win. Yet they keep finding solutions nobody else would consider. Take the Battle of Wolf 359. Commander Susan Clark faced an enemy that could read minds. The psychic melody could predict every human move before it happened. Clark's solution was brilliant in its simplicity. She gave command to her ship's computer, then had herself and her entire crew placed in medical stasis. The artificial intelligence could not be read by psychic powers. It fought the battle while the humans slept. The Melody fleet found themselves facing an opponent whose thoughts they could not touch or consider. The siege of New Dallas. The city was surrounded by armies that outnumbered the defenders 50-1. Commander Patricia Williams knew she could not win a direct fight. Instead, she convinced the enemy that New Dallas was haunted. Using holographic projectors and sound systems, Williams created the appearance of ghostly soldiers walking the battlements. She had her people tell stories of ancient earth spirits that protected human settlements. The psychological warfare worked better than any weapon. Within a week, the superstitious enemy forces had retreated. The most famous example remained the Battle of the Binary Stars, where Commander Rachel Green had faced an impossible choice. 2 enemy fleets had positioned themselves on opposite sides of twin suns. Any attack on one fleet would expose her forces to the other. Green's solution was to attack both simultaneously. She split her fleet in half, sending each group around one of the stars. The enemy assumed she had made a fatal tactical error by dividing her forces. They were wrong. The human ships used the binary star's gravity, wells like slingshots building up tremendous speed as they swung around the stellar bodies. Both halves of Green's fleet struck their targets at the same moment, moving so fast that the enemy could barely track them. The victory had been so complete that 3 species immediately requested peace negotiations rather than risk facing human tactical doctrine in their own systems. Back on his command ship, 641 received the latest intelligence reports. The humans had just completed another impossible mission. Commander Helen Carter had infiltrated a fortress moon that had never been breached in 800 years. How did she do it? Carter had studied the fortress's supply schedules and discovered that food deliveries arrived every 10 days. She had her team pose as health inspectors, claiming there had been reports of contaminated protein supplies. The guards had actually welcomed them inside. While pretending to test food samples, Carter's people had planted micro-explosives throughout the facility. When the fortress shields dropped for the next supply delivery, the charges detonated simultaneously. The supposedly impregnable fortress surrendered within hours. Zix closed his eyes and tried to understand how these humans thought every other species in the galaxy followed logical patterns. The strong attacked the weak, the many defeated the few. Honor determined the outcome of equal contests. Humans ignored all these rules. They were weak, but pretended to be strong. They were few, but acted like they were many. They had no concept of honor, but somehow always found ways to win. The communication console chimed with an incoming message. Zix dreaded what he might hear. Commander, this is Admiral Torres of the human fleet. We know you have been studying our tactics. We would like to invite you to a peaceful conference to discuss mutual cooperation. Zix stared at the message. How did they know he was watching them? How did they find his supposedly secret observation post? And why were they offering friendship instead of demanding surrender? Perhaps that was the most human thing of all. They won. Their battles then offered to shake hands with their enemies. It made no sense, but somehow it worked. Half the galaxy was now allied with these impossible creatures. Zix composed his reply, accepting the invitation. He had spent months trying to understand human military doctrine. Maybe it was time to simply ask them to explain it. After all, if you could not defeat them, you might as well join them. That seemed to be the human way.